video response to Professor MTH. I'm really sorry about the video quality. I would have filmed this on my regular camera, which has better quality, except that I'm in the process of moving and it's been boxed away. So therefore, I'm doing it on the webcam, which is really shoddy quality and poor audio. In any case, my name is JBJo or Joanna, and I watch your videos frequently, and I have a lot of respect for you. You recently made a video addressed to Christians and Jews and brought up some interesting points. You asked for feedback, hence the video response. And I'm Jewish, so the Jesus part of your video is a moot point to me, but the other three examples you gave of Jephthah, Abraham, and the nature of the Molech prohibition are what I'm addressing here. On Jephthah, the vow was not in fact valid. I'm going to be citing a lot of rabbinic literature because basically it's impossible to draw ideas in Judaism based on the scripture alone. You need the rabbinic commentaries too, and since you asked for Jewish opinion, what I'm giving you is Jewish opinion, which is rabbinic commentary. I'm quoting from a lot of different sources. I try to cite them as much as possible. It took me an hour and a half of research to get this information down, but so this is a pretty good compilation. So back to Jephthah. The Jewish Encyclopedia, which is a rather trusty tool for information like this, states that the sages of Israel decided that Jephthah was, quote, a fool, otherwise he would have known that his vow was invalid. He was to be absolved by paying a sum of money, or in some opinions with no payment at all. The 2-month leave of his daughter was to consult the rabbis of the Sanhedrin, who, according to tradition, were divinely caused to forget the law so that Jephthah might be punished for the killing of the 42,000 Ephraimites that he killed. The article also cast doubt on the origin of the Jephthah story. However, the bottom line is that in Midrash Haggadah and other sources, God is seen as angry at Jephthah's vow. I'm going to provide you the link to that article. On the Abraham-Isaac story, the story has several very interesting variations in rabbinic literature. In Zevachim 62a, following the tradition that Isaac was actually killed and literally reduced to ashes and subsequently raised from the dead, the story is told that the place of the Jerusalem altar was identified by the finding of Isaac's ashes. Although, even if you read the story through this perspective, it's not necessarily an indication of this statement's literal meaning, but could also mean that the place of the altar was identified through the merit of Isaac. Alternatively, according to Rashi, the ram which was offered later in the passage had every wound accompanied by a prayer that this would count as if it had been done to Isaac. Regardless, the opinion of the sages was that it was never God's plan for Isaac to be killed. A comment on Jeremiah 19:5 states that which I commanded not refers to the incident in 2 Kings 3:27, nor spake it refers to Jephthah, and neither came it into my mind refers to Abraham, which of course begs the question that if it came not into God's mind, why did he request it? A question for which I really don't have an answer, but at any rate, it should be clear that there are any number of Jewish opinions that can be derived from this text, but the unanimous consensus is that child sacrifice is not permissible, especially considering that virtually all commentators consider Isaac to have been an adult at the time of the Akedah. On Molech, Aish.com has a comment which made me chuckle that I wanted to share. It called the prohibition a, quote, delightful commandment because it always feels good to have a commandment that you know you haven't transgressed, unquote. Rashi's comments that if you sacrifice your child to Molech, you have stolen the child from God and from the community of Israel. Child sacrifice to God is therefore prohibited because it robs the community of Israel, not to mention numerous times in Jewish literature that saving a life is given as an imperative. So important is saving human life in Jewish law that doctors are obligated to break the Sabbath, the holiest day of the year, or the holiest day, to rescue a human life. In conclusion, Judaism flatly forbids child sacrifice. I hope this gives you a new perspective on the passages you learned.